Good afternoon, everyone. Again, as Dr. Darrell Green indicated, I am Delethia McIntire. I am fortunate, blessed, and enriched for having been here. My superintendent, Dr. Lisa Lawson, was not able to attend, which afforded me this very rich experience, and I am very grateful to all of you for your open and honest sharing. I feel like the young man that stood up on the box yesterday. I'm blown away, just simply blown away. So in our Delaware team, we talked about quite a bit. One of the things that we debriefed on was just the impact of the student learning, how important it is that they get rich experiences that make them, force them, encourage them, and enable them to think critically and then to apply that learning that they have been exposed to. And it is because of the work that's done here at Y&I and within our local and your locals that we're able to get these amazing units. We also had some dialogue, though, that, as Dr. Green referenced, that not everybody can just pick it up and do it the same justice, which is the power, right, of Y&I, to be able to come and sit under amazing, amazing professors like Dr. Ferguson and get a context that you otherwise would never have considered. A name of a school, the Jefferson School, and the history that comes behind that and the foundation with which it was laid, all to get to a unit perhaps on math or mapping or something else. So just incredible, incredible opportunities that motivate and excite both you, us, and the students, hopefully, that we serve. So we talked about that individually, what each of us got back from the sessions yesterday, which was great. We then went on to talk about some of our goals that we've achieved and things that we want to work on moving forward. One of them, very impressive to me, this is my second year here now, is that we had a 140% increase in the number of fellows since 2023 in our local. So I think we have to give that up for the Delaware team. Thank you. Of those numbers, 75% of them are new to this experience. 12 from the Red Clay School District, 9 from my Brandywine School District. So one of our goals is, obviously, we don't only have 2 districts in the state of Delaware. So one of our goals is to have more sister districts participate. We're in the northern Newcastle County area. So there are, typically about 5 of our groups, and 2 of which are very, very well represented this year. We're hoping to get more, and we're hoping through continued partnerships with universities, in addition to the University of Delaware, to expand that work. And we thank you, Philadelphia, for sharing that partnership that you have with Temple and UPenn. And so we're looking at possibly reaching out to others as well, Delaware State University, just to expand it so that people have access. But we also talked about how come we can't get teachers here every summer. Well, people have different commitments. Life happens. And so we also talked about the need to explore expanding hybrid options at the local level. That way people could participate. But also when we're sharing and marketing, talking about the value of being in person. I can't tell you, just from my conversations last night with the people I was sitting around that I didn't know before I had showed up at the table, the rich things that I can now take away from some of those conversations. And I'm sure that mirrors the experiences that many of you, if not all of us, have had as well. So just kind of putting it out there when we're marketing that there is a benefit to being hybrid, because I can at least participate if I'm unable to attend in person, and at the same time, what the value is of being here and hearing all of this, like what we heard this morning about next year's seminars. And I echo Dr. Green. I'm like, okay, sign me up. How do we get the district folks to be able to participate in one? I want to participate in one. So we talked about that. We also talked about the successes, and again, in moving forward, Red Clay has done an amazing job as an example of expanding their marketing and their promotion of it through pictures, posting everything, social media nowadays, video clips of units being taught and teachers talking about the impact of the Institute locally, as well as Y&I. So that's a way that teachers will be at a football game. Carrie Ann shared, and I think one of our other fellows shared that somebody saw her at a football game and said, I saw you on Facebook. You were doing that amazing unit. And they were like, ooh, how can I get signed up? So just some of those things. And then in Brandywine, because we did not have representation, last year we had a fellow who had a baby, couldn't be here this year, but she shared with me personally, because I was working in human resources, had formerly been her building principal, about the opportunity that she experienced before coming to Brandywine. And so we decided, you know what, let's try to concentrate our effort in one building so that there's support for new fellows and you don't have to feel like you're doing this expansive and very challenging work by yourself. You have other people in the building, you can run down the hall, across the hall. And so we did that, and this year, you know, we went from having just Brittany last year to having 3 additional folks come from Brandywine, and they talked about, you know, the experience and the benefit of having that one-on-one kind of in your building opportunity. So we just talked about different ways that we could kind of try to spread this wealth and get the word out. So some of our specific goals will be to re-engage other sister districts through some of those efforts that I just mentioned, increase opportunities for educators to hear about the vast benefits. You heard about one that Red Clay is doing by offering the buyback time. In our district, we have something called PIP and trade-in, similar thought. And so now we'll go back and explore, because I didn't even know that they had that. So as HR director, now I can go back to my district and say, ooh, this is a really great way to further acknowledge and recognize this work that is so critical for students. Let's see. We also wanted to make sure that we include opportunities for people to hear about the application process and the reality of the application process for this work, and to become a fellow, and to certainly to visit as a Y&I possible participant. Some of the folks that are newer, such as my Brandywine team, talked about, you know, it is very expansive. And to say to somebody, ooh, come, you're gonna learn, and that's great and that's true. But you're also gonna work. And the work is, as those of you who have done it know, is very intensive. So having the opportunities for people to not just hear about it, but to follow up and ask questions and get support with that process, we felt was very important. We even talked about IB units, because several of us in our buildings have IB classes and programs. And so these units are all interdisciplinary, right? They are all inquiry-based learning opportunities, so converting those into units that can be used in IB classrooms as well is something we took about. And the last thing I'll share are some thoughts from my team when we talked about and debriefed on the opportunities for next year. But before I do that, I would just like to take a moment to thank them. So Josefa Castelli, Alyssa Lucadamo, and Yvette Respis from Brandywine School District, thank you so very much for your commitment. As well as Holly Brick and Carrie Ann Flynn from the Red Clay District, thank you so very much for your commitment. And I will leave you in the words of Dr. Ferguson. We don't know how many apples are in one seed. Each of you is a seed. You don't know how many apples you might bring forward and how many additional apples are going to come from the seeds that you plant. So we just encourage you to continue this amazing work that is making an absolute difference for students. And our final thoughts of some of our teams in terms of talking about next year's opportunities were, I want to do all of them. I can go with any one of them. I like the options of having an option A or an option B and the possibilities for each. Oh, we'll use the questionnaire to let them know that. Also, 2 thumbs up for me. I appreciate the cross-curricular learning opportunities. And yeah, I plan to be back. So from Delaware, thank you so very much.